Good evening, folks. We're going to go ahead and get started. We know that most folks are probably like me, probably outside now, praising the rain because of, water bills. Not sure, but we've had a series of sessions like this to try and get a little more personal, allow you to be a little more personal with the chief. He's been moving around the city. Everybody knows him by now. And we are doing this with both the CPD troops and also the fire department. And the chief, and maybe both of us will probably tell you a little about that arrangement tonight before we leave. It's been a while. We sort of set out on a journey a couple of months ago, maybe 3 months ago, 4 months ago, to put our feet back on the ground, so to speak. We are pleased with CPD. I've always been pleased and adamantly supporting CPD as well as the fire department. We had a gap, but in spite of that, the department was fully functional. That says a lot about the people who have stepped up and answered the call, answered the bell, and so in that sense we really didn't miss a beat. But as a result of the mission we were on, I think we made the right decision with input from the public, and as a result of that, we went to Virginia, I'm sorry, and made a steal. As a result of that, again, we can say that CPD is still amongst the best, and there's a new vision, and it's something that everybody has embraced, including the council and myself. And so we're proud to continue to work with CPD and the chief and his staff to foster the dialogue with the community and to make sure that this is not a passing fancy. I think you'll find and that these guys are always accessible, and I think that's fundamental in service delivery. And so I'm going to sit and allow the chief to come up. I don't know. They have this tag team has an order that they work on, but we'll hear from them, and then we're going to just have some free-flowing discussions. Thank you.
Sure. I don't know, mixing it up. Fire department always goes first at these things. Well, thank you, Mr. Davis. And thank you all for coming out on a rainy evening. Ms. Cooper, it's nice to see you. I think we had more in your living room that day than we have here today, and I can't wait to come back again and have a good lunch. I'm very happy to be here, and I'll, as I've done in these, I'd like to just kind of share, what's going on these last few months at the police department and kind of the direction we're going. But Chief Tinsley, I would be remiss if I didn't say that, you know, the professional relationship that I have found there to be with the fire department's very refreshing in the public safety sector, and I think that's something that the community should be very proud of. It really is a true public safety family in Columbia, and that's pretty special. That's not something you find everywhere, unfortunately, and it certainly is the case here. And I think that that starts at the top, and I think it's important that that's reflected at the top, and I can assure you that it is. So I'm very, very happy to be here with you tonight. Our community officer for out here is Officer McIntyre, Sergeant Hicks, Sergeant Reed, Lieutenant White, Captain Holbrook, and Deputy Chief Kelly. I'm sure I'm telling you something you already know, but this is the cream of the crop as far as I'm concerned. It represents everything that's right about the police department. It's a snapshot, an example of what allowed me to make a decision, an easy decision to come into a difficult situation. I mean, it was a difficult situation, but there remains to be a lot of challenges and stuff. But because of folks like this that are dedicated to service, and again, because we're pulling in the same direction, we're going to get where we need to be. So, but just wanted to recognize them and thank them for everything that they do. It's really kind of gone. This last 16 weeks has just gone in a blink of the eye. Really, it's but although its time has passed very quickly, I think I'm aging in dog years because I've got more gray on the side. It feels like it's about a year in passing, so everything's kind of speeding up a little bit. I'm losing more hair by the day, but I think I said this maybe in the last meeting. It's that good tired you get when you work hard. You feel good. You feel tired and you feel good. But what we've done is there's been a 90-day plan in place, and the first part was an assessment period, and the second part was some planning, and then right now we're implementing a lot of the stuff that we discovered and evaluated through this journey. But in the evaluation process, the main thing that I wanted to do was really evaluate our mission against the philosophy of preventing crime and reducing crime through problem-solving partnerships. And in order to do that, you got to know all there is to know about your organization and the community, and that's really what's occurred. We've done self-assessment, and that I have to self-assess all the time, and some things I need to do a better job at self-assessing about. Sometimes I'm I'm told occasionally I'm not approachable. This will be internally, not actually. I'm always the public's always welcome. I guess some days I might not have a feeling of being approachable, but so I've got to work on that. But all kidding aside, there's been a lot of reflection internally, a lot of meetings amongst us. We've got a number of committees in place. I've spent significant amount of time in the community, meeting folks in the community such as yourself, and getting feedback from the community on their expectations of the police department and the direction that we need to go. We've met with really all ranks and files within the police department. They've completed surveys, provided very honest and direct feedback to me. I've had a roundtable meeting with officers. We've done these meet the chiefs meetings throughout, and we've also done some technical evaluation within the department, looking at some of our technology, which is in need of improvement. And so as a result of this, one thing that has been very clear to me is that the communities want the communities are very different and diverse throughout this city, and each community has very unique needs, and what they want is officers in long-term assignments in the neighborhood, so they're able to develop a relationship with the officer, and they're able to more preventively be able to identify and solve problems. And everywhere that I go where there's been a sustained community police officer for some period of time, that relationship exists, and it's a recipe for success, and we're really committed to increasing our ranks and really embracing that philosophy. We know that I quickly learned that we need to strategically plan better, and I think that's a message that council has heard consistently from me, and I would also submit that they recognize that as well. The city's growing leaps and bounds, and there's been a number of annexations, around 53 in the last 3 years, but the police department hasn't grown with those annexations. So we know that we've got to position ourselves to be able to provide the level of service that everybody wants in the city. So we're aggressively working on that. We've done some organizational restructuring to be more accountable and more streamlined, which has involved combining some units and pushing resources back out to the regions where our very capable region commanders know what's needed in their region specific to their neighborhood, so they're able to put resources where they need to be most effective. And as I mentioned, our technology is, we have some very good systems in place, but we're only using about 20% of the capacity, so that's something we have to improve on. And then most importantly is we're going to do a better job in being operationally transparent. Basically, what that simply stated is, people need to know what we're doing and why we're doing it and how we're doing it, and you'll see that continue to improve. The second part which was in the second 60 within day, I guess the second 60 days, the second phase of this process was really kind of preparing the organization to move forward. We just completed some mandatory supervision training in this room, actually, and that was one of the first things that we got set up, and we brought somebody in to do some what I consider just very high speed and advanced leadership training. I think some people, the feedback we got was just tremendous, and that's something we're going to bring back and continue to provide for the majority of, or the remainder of our supervisors. We know we got to prepare our employees for lifelong learning. We got to empower them to find solutions, give them an opportunity to professionally develop and learn how to problem solve. So the other thing that I believe is critical to an organization to grow and to prosper is good communication internally. Views and opinions have to be valued and expected, and I ask a lot of questions, and it's not because I'm challenging what we do or why we do it, but it's because I'm trying to learn. And we have good dialogue internally, and I have found that the conversations and dialogue that I have in the community is very refreshing and very open, and it's just it's been a very positive experience. The thing that has also struck me in the community, and the thing that I hear besides the long-term assignments is, they want the officers. A lot of times, folks misread the fact that an officer is driving through a neighborhood, and I've heard it stated, their head's down or they're looking straight forward, and they're not interested in what's going on. And what in our current situation, what we're seeing a lot is the officers are being responsive instead of proactive because they have to, because we're answering so many calls for service. So as we have 31 vacancies right now, we've got to get those filled, because that's going to allow us to have assignments where officers have more time to be proactive. We want an officer to answer his radio about a third of the time, report what happens a third of the time, and then spend the remainder of the time being proactive, building relationships, getting to know the neighbors. in their area of responsibility. I mentioned we have several committees in place right now. One is a committee for recruiting, hiring, training, and dealing with some retention issues. We, we've got some fantastic applicants right now, and our recruitment process is going great. We've have just in the last 60 days, we've had over 200 applications. But our issue is we have to retain our officers. We got great officers. We provide training, and then we're losing them to other jurisdictions. So we've got to correct that. We've got to, pay them competitively, provide incentive for them to professionally grow, and take care of the employees. A happy employee is an employee that's going to stay, and we recognize that institutionally as a department, and our elected officials certainly recognize that too. And I'm, Councilman Davis, he bangs the drum for us all the time, and it's it's certainly appreciated, and it does not go unrecognized within the ranks. The other committee, I always smile when I say this is our uniform committee. One of the things that struck me was we were all dressed differently. It wasn't unusual. You could probably find about a dozen different combinations of uniforms, and I didn't think it sent a consistent message. So, uniform committee is in place and is making recommendations for uniforms that are specific to the assignment. And as you can see, our officers in attendance tonight are dressed the same, and that's the way it should be. They're readily recognizable, and they look professional, and that's the image that we want to project. We have a committee that just finished up rewriting our mission, vision, and goals and objectives, and they did a great job, and that's something that we're moving forward with, and we'll be sharing soon. We're doing a policy review. It's really important that we restore our national accreditation. And we're also working on a 5-year strategic plan. You got to know where you're going if you're going to get there. As I said, we've had some slight reorganizations. One was naming a deputy chief, and that's Mel Ron Kelly. Getting some permanent positions in the regions. Tim Holbrook was named captain of the North Region, and has done a fantastic job. This region, out here is one of the crown jewels as far as I'm concerned. In my short time here, this is where the rubber's hitting the road, I can tell you. Very diverse region, and has a lot of demands, and we've got some of the best police officers that I've had the pleasure of being around out here solving problems, and that's what it's all about. Our last phase that we're in right now is our implementation phase, and we already have our aggressive recruiting campaign underway. We're in the process of producing a professionally done recruitment video that I think everyone will be very proud of. I mentioned the staffing issues with vacancies. We're working on that. We're in the process of rolling out a surveillance camera, security camera program, where we're going to be placing several hundred cameras throughout the city and in prime hot spots. We are undertaking the absorption of code enforcement into the police department. We think that's going to really go hand in hand with our community policing philosophy in the regions. It's going to allow the community officer to work directly with the code enforcement inspectors to work again to solve some solutions related to blight in the communities that we know blight is directly related to crime. Just what we've been able to do just in the last few months last few weeks, with that consolidation, I think has been remarkable and has been very efficient, and I think it will just continue to improve. And this region's kind of ground zero for the importance of having that as a priority. The cleaner we can be and how we project is gonna have an effect on crime. And the other thing that is going to be important is, the mission of code enforcement is not punitive. It's not about, levying fines and creating hardship for folks. It's about solving problems and seeking compliance, mitigating the problem that's, of the violation. So you'll find that this process is going to be more accommodating to helping people get what they need to do to solve their problem. Some other things that we're working on is assigning vehicles to our officers to take home that live in the city. This is something that I've heard a lot from the officers that's important to them, and I think it also increases our presence and footprint in the city. That's ongoing now. We've currently had to implement a stopgap strategy dealing with the homeless shelter closing and some of the uptick in homeless-related lawlessness that we've seen. That's been a combined effort from all our specialty units, Metro and the North region, and they've done just a fantastic job in mitigating that problem. We've had some remarkable crime reductions in that. We're placing a significant emphasis on our report management system and being able to utilize that more to give us real crime data in a timely manner, so we can make good staffing decisions and good deployment decisions in the regions. And that's something that we have to improve on and have the capacity to do. And we're very, very excited about what the future holds for us in terms of our analytical capabilities and predictive policing and some of the things that we're teaming with USC to do in the future. So we've really got a lot of, I think, positive momentum, and I'm really excited. So honored to be here. And I think what I'll do now, Chief, is let you give them your spiel, and then we'll maybe answer some questions. And do you all live out here, or are you all with the cab folks? Do you want to talk about some cab stuff? Okay. All right. Thank you.
Well, I'll be brief. I will say thank you for taking your time to be here tonight. Chief Jenkins sends his regrets. He had a conflict on his schedule. He's out of town right now, enjoying some time with the family. So thank you, Councilman Davis, for being here. Appreciate your support to the fire department and to the community. Point of information, two things I think would be good anytime you do a community meeting. There is opportunity for information, and there's also opportunity for information through the website that we have. So I would encourage you to view the city website, columbiasc.net, and look at the city manager's report to the community. There's a wealth of information in there about public safety, community development, some of the things that have been accomplished over the last year. Also, this next week is National Night Out, as everybody knows. So I put a push out to the communities for there. We'll have fire companies out there doing that. And Saturday will be the kickoff at Finley Park. I think that's from 6 to 8 p.m. My name is Harry Tinsley. I'm your Deputy Chief, Chief of Operations, Second in Command. And I'm born and raised right here in Columbia. I've been here with the city fire department approaching 27 years. Married approaching 22 years, two daughters, 15 and 20. Love the fire department, love the city. A very good place to live. There is a lot of professionals here that wear uniforms and a lot that don't. A lot of the back office stuff that you may not see. So the city has a strong workforce and is strong on community involvement. By way of the fire department, it's worth noting we are a unified service. We have a fire contract with the Richland County, and so we cover approximately 700 square miles. We have 5 battalions broken up, 32 stations. We service a Fire Prevention Bureau, which does community code enforcement inspections, approaching about 5,000, a little more than 5,000 a year. We answer about 38,000 calls for service per year. We're a licensed DHEC non-transport agency, so we do answer first responder medical calls because every fire station is in the community. So we're medically trained, some at the EMT level. We're an all hazards department. We respond to anything, whether it be weapons of mass destruction, house fires, medical, hazardous material, any kind of technical rescue. We're a do-all department, and I will tell you, we have a lot of professional people that really get out here and get it done day in and day out. You may not see them. You ride by a station, and you see the building, and you see through the bay door the truck, but there are firefighters there, and they live there, and they serve professionally. Their standards, they look their best, they do their best every day, day in and day out. So I would encourage you to go by and visit a fire station. Our firefighters love to see the community come by and be involved and stop by and see what's going on. And of course, we go to a lot of community events throughout the year. I think the most important thing that we can do is be ready to respond. And we have some challenges right now. One of them is, as the chief said, that they're experiencing is retention. We've got some folks that have been in the system, and we have some compression in the ranks. We have a revolving door where it's a challenge to keep firefighters on the street. The city's doing a comp and class study to really look at how we can address some of those issues. But what we want to focus on, when you get them in the door, you keep them. This is a craft. It's a rewarding profession. And you typically find a lot of folks who want to serve, but we got to keep them here once we get them. So that's really all I have. We'll go into some questions if you have any of me. But good to see you, Chief. Thank y'all.
Any comments or questions for the chief or the chief?
Yes, I'll go ahead and start. My name is Dwayne Yard. I've operated a taxi cab in the city of Columbia for 33 years. And my father drove a taxi here. My grandfather drove a taxi here. I'm very proud to say I was born in the city of Columbia. This is where I've lived at my whole life. This is where I worked at. Now I'm here before you guys because of a direct assault on my way of living. And we're talking about Uber X. I'm sure you gentlemen have heard of it. It's made national news. Now they've come to Columbia, and they're not regulated. All the cab drivers, the 400 cab drivers that operate in the city of Columbia, are regulated. So we're here to ask you, to implore you, to plead with you, to stop Uber X, because they're illegal, and they're affecting our livelihood. And that's why I'm here.
I can comment a little bit on this. This is something that literally just kind of appeared overnight here, as you all are very well aware of. And I had a really good meeting with some of your counterparts early last week, and right now we're not in a holding pattern, but we're waiting on a legal opinion from our city attorney's office, and then we're also we're waiting on some information from the PSC. I think there's a hearing scheduled just in the next few days in there with Uber and in the PSC. So I think we'll see some type of resolution in the near future on the enforcement end. Anyway, it certainly is. It's not a round peg in a round hole. I totally get you on that and understand, and I think there's got to be some regulatory measures that we need to make sure are in place. I just can't give you a definitive answer, but I would say that we're on the same page with you all, and we certainly appreciate the service you provide to our city and value that as well. But that's it's interesting. I really didn't know that much about it, but I was educated from your counterparts on it in a very short period of time, and they've really skillfully navigated kind of on the fringes of regulatory impediments, and You know, I think, you know, it's something we'll get our hands around, but it's just, I don't have a definitive answer to give you tonight. But, you know, I appreciate you all taking the time to come, but, you know, we hear you and share your concern, and it's not something that I would commit to you. It's not something we're going to drag out. Yes.
My name is Howard Winslow, and I'm also a cab driver. I haven't lived here all my life. I moved down here from Ohio in 1959. I went to the university in 1959. There was one bar in 5 months. Wow. That's how old I am. I left the insurance department as director of investigations before becoming a humble cab driver. I had some law enforcement background. Appreciate what Dwayne said, and it's affecting all of our incomes, but it is a public safety issue, and I want to make this point, why it's a public safety issue. Okay? We have developed, as your officers who control the city have developed over time, situational awareness, multitasking ability, and defensive driving. We're also regulated by the city, so we have to go through certain regulatory things. These Uber drivers are not. And they're not equipped to deal with what's going to happen at 5 points when football season starts as a driver. Senator Strom Thurman's daughter was killed at 5 points by a drunk driver many years ago. You know what's happened down there last year. It's a public safety issue to the point that these people are not trained to do what they're doing, which is transporting people through an area like that. And that's my concern. I just wanted to say that.
Yes, sir. And I agree. Thank you. Yes.
Yeah, I feel like you're getting around the law. And
I'm sorry?
We're only asking you to enforce the law. These people are clearly breaking the law, and it's not a question that we have to put before PSC to determine whether Columbia has a law to regulate taxes. If a person comes along the street with 5 points and says, hey, I'll give you a ride for $20, you would immediately enforce the law. If a person is driving along with a taxi from the side of the car, you would enforce the law. So what is the difference with them using a cell phone to promote their business? They have no business license, they have no commercial insurance, they have no chauffeur's license. These are people that are making a profit, picking up people, and the law defines rideshare as not for profit. That's the state law that defines it as not for profit. There's no reason why we have to wait to enforce the law, but we have to let people break the law for weeks and weeks and weeks, put in their location on an app where anybody can load on the internet and see exactly where they're open for business, where everybody in the city that sees this thinks, well, the Columbia police have said they're okay, they're not enforcing the law on them, so they must be legal. They must have given them the license to operate in the city. And I tell people, well, they're not legal, it's not safe to ride with them. If you get in a wreck with them, the personal insurance might not cover the accident. And I feel like the Columbia police has given them just a voucher to just do what they want. And they, you know, the law doesn't exist unless you enforce it.
Yeah, well, I would respectfully disagree with you. And as I stated to him, we're looking into it. It's something that just came to my attention last week, and we'll fairly and effectively enforce the law.
If I can say one more thing.
Sure, absolutely.
You know, Columbia is the capital of South Carolina. You know, Myrtle Beach is already enforcing the law. Charleston is already enforcing the law. They're writing tickets. They've already come to the conclusion that Uber is illegal. That's what Uber is. It is a taxi company. I don't care what else they tell you. I don't care how they paint a pretty picture. It is a taxi company. These guys are getting paid to transport people within the city limits of Columbia, South Carolina. Like I said, Myrtle Beach, Charleston, they're already writing tickets. You know,
they just started writing tickets.
All right, this, you know, like I said, this is the political hub of South Carolina. You know, I think, you know, I'm asking, like I said, we want to see it enforced. We want to see the law enforced. That's all we're asking. Thank you.
Just let me add a little bit here. The chief is he's accurate in terms of where we are now. You know, I think some of you may recall that I chaired the Public Safety we had the issues before the Economic Development Committee. We spent a year on tweaking the regs that are in place now, with you guys' help. Charleston, as I understand it, they are enforcing whatever their ordinance is now, but they were down there for a while, and they had to. When you're saying that you're implementing the law, you want to make sure that you dot your I's and cross your T's. We are, in fact, waiting for the legal department to make sure that we can counter their claim. They're popping up like that because they take the position, and the people who support them and the people who finance them, that they are totally legal from day one. That is not true. I think you will hear from the city in a short period of time. And you're absolutely correct. The PSC is a state level, interpretation law and all that. That's not where we are. We're here with what we can and cannot do and what we say we're going to do by way of the ordinance. And the review also would include how you cause them and make them fall under the same requirements that you fall under. So it's not falling on deaf ears, and they're looking at it methodically, and then we will give these guys the kind of guidance and tools they need. This is a totally different situation. And as you well know, they are in France, England, all over. And not saying that they have been accepted elsewhere either, but there's a process that folks go through, so you want to make sure that if you're challenged in terms of how you address the issue, you have the letter of the law that stands behind you.
One other thing I'd like to say, sir. The City of Columbia, the mayor and the city council has asked us cab drivers to be ambassadors for the city.
Exactly.
We're required to go to a 2-hour hospitality course to learn about the cities. And then when that first person gets off the airplane and gets in my cab and says, "What's there to do in Columbia?" I can tell them.
Yes, sir.
And that's one service that we provide to the city that you're not going to get from Uber drivers. That's all I want to say.
Yeah. I think it's fair to say, I mean, we really agree with what you are saying, and something I'll be glad to do. If you'll put all your contact information down before you leave, I'll personally update you guys on how we're moving ahead on this. So you'll hear it straight from the horse's mouth.
And
so we won't have any miscommunication.
We know exactly what you have had to go through to be licensed to operate in the city of Columbus.
Yeah. No, and our cab community has a good reputation, and we know that, and that's not always the case. So, we'll get to where we need to be in short order.
One thing I don't know if you're on the webpage, what's her name, but Tillman does the press releases. I would like to see, is that her name?
Oh, Timmons?
Timmons.
Yeah.
So I'd like to see a press release similar to what came out of Charleston or Beach that basically said warns riders of the risk of riding with an unlicensed rider, but makes it clear that, to the average, to the public, that this bike business isn't licensed, isn't operating legally.
We did 2 spots last week, and we did one Brent Cole there.
About Uber?
Yes.
Oh, okay. It's not on the webpage,
It may not be on our, we did LTX and Willow on 2 spots, started building.
Yeah, it's not on
We did 2 of those last week, we did Cole there as well.
But we'll
She's got things about like illegal tattooing and other illegal business.
we can do something like that at the appropriate time. Absolutely.
And
Yes.
Now, non-Uber, I have Uber contacts, I have non-Uber contacts. I've been lucky enough to drive a cab since '88, and every year we're in our busy time of football season. Is there any way where we can have a lane for ambulances, police, cabs, buses, where we are out of there? We appreciate the police that have to waive traffic on that. We appreciate that. But, and we know we drive on, we get in the middle of traffic, the kids say, well, people can walk by our car faster than the meters running, so we'll get out of here, so we're clogged up in there. Is there?
Well, one of the things we're working on in 5 Points is some designated taxi zones that will allow you all to, I think, more safely pick up passengers, and it'd be more efficient for you all in some areas to pull in more conveniently and stuff. We're working on a transportation plan down there. I think similar to what you're saying. You know, I don't know the practicality or likelihood that we can, you know, design lanes in an already, you know, existing infrastructure. That's something typically you plan ahead for, but you know, in some of the transportation planning that we're doing, trying to look at in our hospitality area, we are trying to find better ways that you all can pick people up and safely pick people up and drop people off. So that's something that we'll, you know, be looking ahead to do.
My other comment is that we have to answer the SLED and all these different agencies. I've had an offense in the past 10 years since my last chauffeur license. It got exposed by one more chauffeur license in 2016, and he got the Uber. I don't have the qualifying phone to do an app or anything like that. They send a picture and they send a card. They don't tell the past history of the person or nothing like that.
No, you're completely right. Every comment y'all made is right on the point. Yes, sir.
Oh, I remember another thing to say is that I'm not against Uber coming and joining us in a competitive market, but I just think they need to follow the laws. And I think there's many ways that Uber could be joint operations in our state. They could work with existing taxi drivers, they could work with existing companies, they could get their own business license, but they refuse to do anything. They think that they can just veto all the laws and write their own.
Sure, and that's an important distinction too. I mean, we wouldn't be saying they can't do business here. We would be saying that if you do business here, you have to follow the established, you know, policies and ordinances.
We all want what's good for the city of Columbia.
Sure.
We just don't want nobody here operating illegally. That's all we want.
Anyone else? Yes, ma'am.
Well, I can't.
But you can say you don't like them too. You don't like Uber too.
But I just wanted to say thank you to both of y'all. I think the community policing is a real plus for Columbia, and officers that are in and around the neighborhood that are easy to contact if there's a stranger or something, but just a hands-on feeling that a lot of people that live in the neighborhood get from the police officers, and a lot of that is the gentleman sitting right here is so available to us also. But I did want to say a special thank you for that, and that also I live in Cottontown, so we feel like your fire station is our clubhouse. So so they probably get tired of seeing us up there, but so far they have not run us off. But y'all do a fabulous job, and I have enjoyed so much working with you, not only up there for various things, but even going to court with you to take care of the place across the street there.
Well, thank you for your involvement in taking ownership in that station. That is a true gem to see the community be involved in our neighborhood station. It's great.
Yes, sir.
I just got one thing to say about the tax ordinance. Our permits, you know, we have to do one for the city. Every time we get renewed, we have to make about 30 trips, 12 locations, spend about a week of our time
2 or 3 more dollars. There's some way we can streamline that.
We'll jointly look at that, and maybe that's something we should look at through the meeting. But if you would maybe give us, or whoever kind of represents you collectively, some kind of statement on that issue that you would like us to look at and pretty much explain what the challenges are.
Well, it seems like it should be able to, be able to walk in, lay something down, 10, 15 minutes later, you walk out.
Where's that impediment? At the police department or city hall or
City ordinances,
where?
you got to make about 30 trips to 12 locations. And when I got mine renewed, I had to make 6 trips just to the police department.
We need to look at that because
I don't pay the very
But the main thing is just basically what he's saying is you have to go to the doctor and physical, which is, we understand that the state report and everything and all things. Like, it seems like y'all would maybe have a process where when we come in for you, it would just be easier to do it.
If you don't have any kind of black card, so okay, that's it, drive the continue and drive everything.
It is a long process, and sometimes it can take up 2 to 3 weeks just for a renewal.
Yeah, we'll look into it. You guys are hitting me with new material here. Give me a chance to look into it. Yeah.
I think you've got a flavor of where I was coming from in the beginning. As I said, I think I'm sure, and I'll stand on that we made the right decision. I think you've heard you've got some information tonight about where the department is going and how the leadership has been structured, and that it's all about service. It's not that everything is new, but it's some structure to making sure that the people of the city and people who visit the city feel safe. And so I think that's a journey that we're all a part of. I'm a part of it, even with the fire department. And I'm known for being a fire truck chaser. It's not true. It's just that when I see these guys come through the district and I'm in that area, I kind of get as close to it as I can without violating any rules. Just to kind of know what's going on, and even with law enforcement, sometimes that's a good thing because you got to do. They have a job that they have to do, and that's why we stand behind making sure that both units have what they need in order to do the job. We can't send the CPD guys out there without the necessary equipment. They've got to protect themselves just as well as they've got to protect the citizens. Fire department guys, same way. There's guys, when the bell rings, they don't ask who, where, how, or nothing. They just go. And when they get there, they're ready to do their job. So they've got to have the best equipment as well. And that's total commitment. I don't recall, since I've been on council, us ever denying CPD and the fire department, for that matter, anything that they requested on way of equipment and so forth. And there's a constant effort to make sure that we're as fully staffed as possible. And there are some things, vacancies happen. We have guys that still have commitments to the military. These guys get injured on the job and those kinds of things. So that all plays into those numbers some folks throw around out there, but it's okay. I think we're going where we need to be, and I don't know that we'll ever be 100% in terms of staffing, but that's okay. We know that We don't have guys that come to work and don't do their job. And you're right, they embrace the fire department across the street. One of the best things I enjoyed was that when there was the request and the need to refurbish that building. And I did take the lead to make sure we got the money. And now that is a true partnership. They've given a little, community's given a little, and everything works fine. I'm saying all that to say this, that we also need your feedback. I'm getting good feedback, and you know, it's not an easy job in either direction. So, we're all human. But at the same time, these guys and ladies take pride in what they do on behalf of this city. You know, so I think we've got the best. I've always thought that we stand even, shoulders even or above everybody else in this region. And so, the effort to go for accreditation says a lot about the department and the leadership. And these guys are good. Accreditation, the only thing accreditation will do is validate that. Any other questions, closing comments?
I have a real quick question.
Yes, ma'am.
Chief Tinsley, how many more of the pet resuscitation units do you need in the department, sir?
We can always use extras. Always good to have them on the shelf, logistics when we have one available. One thing about them, they're reusable. So our goal is to have one every engine light and rescue the tag vehicle. And we're short a few for the tag vehicle.
How many are you short?
It'd be nice to have another half dozen or a dozen.
Okay.
Yep. Senior aircraft, you can get some information, you can contact them.
Okay.
Animal resuscitation.
I thought it was also what y'all did for the cat.
Yeah, and we actually had received some more after that. We had a little PR community went out. That was, I was at that call, but I didn't get to see the transition from when they got the cat out and it was resuscitated. The photos of it all, you saw them on the website. It's good. Thank you.